The Young and the Restless Spoilers Tuesday full February 25, 2025 For weeks now, whispers and half-truths had circulated through the dim corridors of Genoa's elite circles, each rumor more outrageous than the last. Among them, one persistent narrative claimed that Ian Ward was the mastermind behind the latest string of kidnappings. Yet as more evidence surfaced, it became increasingly clear that this accusation was nothing more than a red herring. Ian Ward, a once powerful figure in the media and the subject of many scandalous headlines, had officially ended his term following a dramatic interview where he declared his retirement from the high-stakes world he had once dominated. The writer of these sensational rumors had left Ian's fate open, suggesting that his death might not be permanent, and predicted that he would someday return to the limelight. But for now, the focus was elsewhere. In a cramped, windowless room deep within an undisclosed building, Phyllis and Sharon fought to regain control of their dire circumstances. Their eyes fluttered open to a harsh reality. They were tied up, their arms bound tightly, and their bodies ached from what seemed like endless hours of captivity. Even in the midst of despair, Sharon's determination shone through. "I'm not going to let you die, Phyllis," she declared in a low, resolute tone, echoing the countless times she had experienced and overcome the terror of abduction. Having endured the trauma of being kidnapped more times than she cared to remember, Sharon had learned to transform fear into a steely resolve. "I'm not scared anymore," she insisted, summoning the strength that had kept her alive through previous ordeals. Together, they strategized in whispered urgency, their minds racing with every possible way to escape the oppressive confines of the locked room. Outside the claustrophobic cell, Nick was on a relentless mission. His heart pounded with a mix of anxiety and unwavering love as he combed through every lead, determined to find Sharon. For Nick, the bond he shared with her transcended all the chaos that now enveloped their lives. No matter the circumstances, he vowed to be by her side. Every phone call, every whispered conversation with informants, and every desperate plea for assistance was driven by his singular focus, to rescue Sharon and reunite the fragmented pieces of their family. His dedication was a beacon of hope amid the storm, a reminder that even in the darkest times, loyalty and love could guide one back to safety. While Genoa simmered with tension over the kidnapping crisis, another story unfolded on the periphery, a tale of love and the challenges it brings. Damien and Lily had planned what was meant to be a quiet, romantic evening, a brief respite from the relentless chaos of their intertwined lives. The air between them was thick with unspoken promises as they met at a quaint, candlelit bistro tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. The night was meant to be theirs, a momentary escape from a world where deceit and danger lurked in every shadow. Yet, as they sat across from each other, the complexities of their relationship became painfully apparent. Damien's eyes, earnest and searching, locked with Lily's as he spoke softly, "I need you to be honest with me, Lily. My love for you is built on truth, on real, unfiltered honesty. There's no room here for pretenses or lies." His words carried a raw vulnerability that belied the hard-edged resolve he was known for. He had always believed that true love could weather any storm, but that belief was contingent upon both partners being completely genuine with one another. Lily, however, was wrestling with her own inner demons. The night, which should have been filled with warmth and connection, instead brought a heavy mix of uncertainty and introspection. She wondered if she was capable of the kind of openness that Damien craved. The prospect of dismantling the carefully constructed walls around her heart was both terrifying and tantalizing. "Damien," she began hesitantly, her voice soft and trembling, "I want to love you, to be with you in every way, but I'm not sure if I can promise the honesty you deserve. There are parts of me that I've kept hidden, parts that I fear might change everything if revealed." Her confession hung in the air, fraught with the potential for both heartbreak and liberation. In that moment, the question loomed larger than ever: would Lily be able to let go of her fears and embrace a love that demanded complete transparency, or would the specter of deceit shatter the fragile trust they were trying to build? Back in the grim confines of the captivity room, Phyllis and Sharon continued their desperate efforts. Every muffled sound from outside spurred them on, their senses heightened by the urgency of their predicament. They had endured unimaginable suffering before, and neither was willing to surrender to fate without a fight. The locked room was more than just a physical prison, it symbolized the chains of past traumas and the pervasive fear that had dogged their every step. Yet, amid the pain and despair, their voices united in a silent promise: they would break free no matter what it took. In the chaotic labyrinth of Genoa's underbelly, where secrets were currency and loyalty was a rare commodity, Chance's investigation had taken on an almost mythic quality. Every new lead brought him closer to uncovering the real mastermind behind the series of kidnappings, a puzzle that was as complex as it was dangerous. His reputation for tenacity and an unyielding moral compass made him a respected figure among those who believed that justice could still prevail in a city besieged by corruption. "I will find who's responsible," Chance vowed to himself as he reviewed the latest set of clues late into the night. No one, no matter how elusive, can escape the long arm of the truth. The intricate interplay of these stories, the desperate struggle for freedom by Phyllis and Sharon, Nick's unwavering determination to save those he loved, Chance's relentless pursuit of justice, and the bittersweet, uncertain promise of new love between Damien and Lily, painted a picture of a city at a crossroads. Genoa was a place where every secret had its price and every act of betrayal left scars that might never fully heal. But within this mosaic of despair and hope, each character clung to their own version of redemption. For Nick, the mission to find Sharon was not just about rescuing a friend, it was a testament to the enduring power of love and commitment in the face of overwhelming odds. For Damien and Lily, the evening's intimate conversation was a microcosm of a broader struggle, the battle between vulnerability and self-protection, between the promise of genuine connection and the fear of being hurt. And for Chance, every piece of evidence he unearthed reinforced his belief that even in a city as fractured as Genoa, justice could be restored if one was willing to chase it relentlessly. Meanwhile, the enigmatic rumors about Ian Ward served as a constant reminder that in this world of shifting allegiances and hidden motives, appearances could be deceiving. Though he had stepped away from his public persona, leaving behind a legacy that was as controversial as it was celebrated, the suggestion that he might return one day lingered like a ghost, a symbol of unfinished business and the unpredictable nature of fate. As dawn began to break over Genoa, casting long shadows over the cobblestone streets and dilapidated buildings alike, the city held its breath in anticipation. The convergence of these disparate yet intertwined lives was setting the stage for a reckoning. A moment when every secret, every lie, and every act of betrayal would be laid bare. In that final hour before the inevitable collision of destinies, one truth emerged: the future was uncertain, and the only constant was the indomitable human spirit that refused to be broken. In the end, whether it was through the passionate search of a determined lover, the resolute stand of a battered yet unyielding survivor, or the heartfelt plea for honesty in a fragile romance, each character was charting a course toward their own version of salvation. And as Genoa stirred awake to a new day, it was clear that the battle for justice, love, and truth was far from over, a battle that promised to reshape lives and redefine the very meaning of redemption. Victor always maintained a keen eye on those who came into his orbit, never one to take things at face value. Lately, his suspicion had grown regarding Claire's unexpected presence in his world. For Victor, every appearance was a test, a subtle but potent measure to determine what truly mattered to a person. In his mind, love and family were two pillars of life, but he wondered which one Claire would choose if forced to make a sacrifice. Was her heart bound by the fervor of romance with Kyle, or would the ties of family and legacy hold sway over her decisions? For Victor, loyalty was the most precious currency of all. He had built his empire on the foundation of trust, and those who had proven themselves steadfast and true were rewarded without hesitation. The loyal few received the finest gifts, privileges, power, and opportunities to shape their own destinies. In contrast, those who dared to betray him were destined to face a reckoning that was as swift as it was severe. No matter how small the transgression, disloyalty in Victor's eyes was a sin that demanded punishment. Amid this intricate dance of allegiance and betrayal, Claire found herself caught in a delicate balancing act. Her heart belonged to Kyle. A love that had blossomed in spite of the relentless pressures of a world where business empires clashed and ancient grudges were as real as the air she breathed. Yet the very forces that fueled their romance were also the ones that threatened to tear them apart. Jabot and Newman Enterprises, two colossal powerhouses with deeply entrenched rivalries, stood on opposite sides of a chasm that seemed too wide to bridge. Their corporate feud was a battle of titans, and in that struggle, there was no room for compromise. Claire knew that to survive in such a tumultuous environment, she had to be both shrewd and self-reliant. Escaping the ceaseless vendettas and internal strife of these families required more than just a clear heart, it demanded a mind as sharp as a razor's edge. She made a conscious decision to live life on her own terms, steering clear of the bitter animosities that had ensnared so many before her. By distancing herself from the deep-seated feuds that had defined the legacy of the Newman and Jabot clans, Claire hoped to carve out a space where she could be free to love Kyle without interference, free to pursue her own dreams without being dragged into the darkness of corporate warfare. However, not everyone wished for her freedom. Summer, with her own complicated ambitions and hidden agendas, saw Claire's newfound independence as a threat and an opportunity. In Summer's mind, the perfect trap was already in the making. She believed that by luring Claire into the intricate web spun by Victor and Jack, she could turn the tables to her own advantage. Summer was convinced that once ensnared, Claire would be vulnerable to manipulation, easily exploited by those with the power and the will to bend her to their own purposes. Summer's strategy was as cunning as it was ruthless. She envisioned a scenario where Claire, pressured by the unyielding expectations of family legacy and the ruthless tests of loyalty, would ultimately fall into a trap laid by Victor and Jack. In her twisted calculation, this maneuver would not only bring Claire under their control but also serve as a perfect demonstration of power, a reminder to all that defiance came with a steep price. To Summer, Claire's resistance was futile. The idea that Victor, with his unwavering belief in loyalty, would be able to force her into submission, and that Jack would readily capitalize on her vulnerability, was a prospect that filled her with a perverse satisfaction. Victor's eyes, ever discerning, were also fixed on the unfolding drama. He had long prided himself on his ability to see through pretenses, to detect the subtle shifts in allegiance that signaled where true loyalties lay. Now, with Claire's behavior under scrutiny, he intended to push her to a breaking point. His silent question was simple yet profound: would Claire choose the stability and honor of family, or would the allure of forbidden love with Kyle prove too irresistible, risking the legacy that had been built through generations of unwavering commitment? In Victor's world, every decision had consequences. Those who remained loyal were not only respected, they were cherished and given every opportunity to rise even higher. But betrayal was a wound that festered, eventually demanding retribution. His stern yet calculated gaze promised that no act of defiance would go unpunished, no matter how carefully it was concealed. Caught between these titanic forces, Claire was left to navigate a maze of conflicting expectations. She recognized the wisdom in distancing herself from bitter rivalries, but she also understood that neutrality was a luxury few in her position could afford. In the tumultuous interplay of power and passion, she needed to be both a diplomat and a warrior. Balancing the delicate dance of love with the harsh realities of a world ruled by legacy and loyalty. Meanwhile, Summer's machinations continued in the shadows. Her plot to ensnare Claire was not merely about removing an obstacle, it was about shifting the balance of power in her favor. If she succeeded, the reverberations would be felt far beyond the confines of personal vendettas. It would serve as a stark reminder that in the intricate game of alliances and enmities, the weak would be trampled underfoot, and those who dared to stand aside would be swept into the current of ambition and control. In the end, the unfolding drama was a vivid tapestry of conflicting values, a testament to the enduring struggle between individual freedom and the inescapable pull of legacy. Victor's test of Claire was not just a question of love versus family, it was a trial by fire designed to reveal the true measure of loyalty in a world where every alliance was as fragile as it was precious. And as Summer's dark designs threatened to ensnare her, Claire had to summon every ounce of wisdom and courage to ensure that her destiny would be written by her own hand, not dictated by the relentless forces of power and revenge. The stakes were monumental, the players formidable, and the future uncertain. But one truth remained clear: in the relentless quest for control and identity, only those who embraced both their strengths and their vulnerabilities would ultimately forge a path to true freedom. In the wake of Phyllis's mysterious disappearance, suspicion and unrest have gripped the halls of power, and none more so than Sally, whose every move is now under intense scrutiny. Over the past weeks, law enforcement has relentlessly pursued leads, determined to untangle the web of deceit that surrounds the case. Amid the growing pressure, Sally finds herself cornered by investigations. In tearful desperation, she repeatedly pleads with Billy, insisting that she is not involved in the nefarious circumstances surrounding Phyllis's vanishing. Her tear-streaked confessions, laden with both anguish and frustration, seem sincere, a stark contrast to the calculated coldness that once defined her actions. Billy, for his part, remains steadfast in his belief in Sally's innocence. Despite the mounting evidence that has led to an unyielding police focus on her, he sees her tearful denials as a beacon of truth. To Billy, the notion that Sally could be embroiled in such a dark affair is almost unthinkable. He argues that Chance, the relentless investigator known for his uncompromising determination, is overstepping his bounds by imposing his theories without having found conclusive evidence. In Billy's eyes, the case is far from airtight, and his trust in Sally is a testament to his own need for certainty in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. Yet, while Sally and Billy grapple with the personal ramifications of the investigation, Victor has shifted the focus to a more enigmatic figure, Dumas. Victor has been unremitting in his discussions about this mysterious individual, mentioning the name with an intensity that sends shivers down the spines of those who hear it. What makes Dumas all the more intriguing is the uncertainty surrounding the identity. No one is quite sure if Dumas is a man or a woman. This ambiguity only adds to the air of danger and intrigue that now hangs over the Newman legacy. Rumors are swirling with growing ferocity. A faction of insiders insists that Dumas is, in fact, none other than Ashland, a completely reimagined persona with an agenda all of his own. According to these whispers, Ashland's transformation into Dumas is not a retreat from the past, but rather a calculated evolution. This new incarnation is rumored to be a force of retribution, poised to exact punishment upon the Newman family for past transgressions. The suggestion is clear: as Dumas, Ashland has embraced a mantle of vengeance that transcends the petty grievances of yesteryear. He is destined to leave an indelible mark on the family's future, wielding his newfound identity as a weapon against those he deems unworthy. In this turbulent confluence of investigations, personal loyalties, and emerging threats, the stakes have never been higher. Sally's tearful protests and Billy's unwavering trust stand in sharp contrast to the chilling rhetoric emanating from Victor's camp. While Sally's world is being upended by accusations she insists are baseless, the specter of Dumas looms ominously. A specter whose ambiguous nature and rumored connection to Ashland suggest that the battle lines within the Newman dynasty are far from settled. For the Newman family, the emergence of Dumas represents more than just a new adversary. It is a harbinger of change, a signal that the past, with all its sins and betrayals, is never truly buried. As Victor continues to allude to Dumas in hushed, determined tones, family members are forced to confront the painful possibility that the cycles of retribution may only be beginning. Even as Chance pushes his investigation forward with dogged persistence, the unresolved questions about Dumas, and by extension, the true mastermind behind the current turmoil, create an atmosphere of relentless tension. Within this maelstrom, every character seems to be playing a part in a narrative that is as complex as it is unpredictable. Sally, caught in the crossfire of suspicion and desperate to clear her name, becomes both a victim and a potential scapegoat. Billy, whose loyalty remains unshaken, stands as a solitary bastion of hope amid the encroaching darkness. And then there is Victor, whose insistence on invoking the name Dumas is as much a calculated maneuver as it is a genuine call to arms against betrayal. The ambiguity of Dumas's identity, whether male or female, adds a layer of mystique, as if the true nature of this figure is meant to mirror the intricate and often contradictory impulses that drive the Newman legacy. As tensions escalate and the investigation deepens, the interplay between personal vendetta and corporate legacy becomes increasingly evident. For some, the focus remains on finding the concrete evidence that will vindicate or condemn Sally. For others, it is the emergence of Dumas that commands attention, a figure shrouded in mystery and linked to a dark, possibly transformative force within the family. Rumors continue to spread that Ashland, reborn as Dumas, will not only continue the cycle of punishment but will